am Sure Sports. You know me there, I'm coast to coast representing. I mean, I say this is Righteous representing for Omar. You don't know, come get your sports over here from near and far. Boy. Me say I am Sure Sports, one thing me sure about. When me say sure, that me not doubt. Come get your sports, get it over here. Come subscribe, repost and share. I am Sure Sports, one thing me sure about. When me say sure, that me not doubt. Come get your sports, get it over here. Come subscribe, repost and share. If me not sure, that me not say it. Know who score, that me not say it. Never know no game play, that me not say it. If me never see no game, me not know who play. For your sports news, better come over here so. For your soccer news, then come over here so. If you don't love sports, still come over here so. For the day done, you are gonna love over your son.
So when it comes on to behavior concerning football, Jamaica is decent. I am sure that if we can get all of these things done, set in place by the end of April, it gives us enough time before the World Cup campaign. Not afraid of no Brazil, no Argentina with these crapper players. We are good enough. Remember to like, subscribe, share. Listen, comment, let me know what your thoughts are.
Trick Jerk Marinade gives your meats and vegetables authentic Jamaican jerk flavor. The spices are directly from Jamaica. Spices like jerk seasoning, allspice, Scotch bonnet pepper, fresh scallions, thyme, ginger, and garlic. The key ingredients to a great jerk marinade. 0% sugar and low in sodium. You want to try it?
Made up of 18 Jamaican herbs and spices. Add delicious, bold flavor to your next grilling experience. Flavoring sauce, a marinade, basting, condiment, or topping. Trick Jerk Barbecue Sauce.
All right. Good morning. Beautiful day it is. It is a day that the Lord has made. Let us rejoice and be glad in it. Again, as we begin our program today, we want to make sure that we take time out to give the Lord, God Almighty, thanks for the breath in our lungs. We didn't have to be here, but by His unconditional love, unmerited grace and favor, we are here today, and we are forever grateful. I want to challenge you to be better today than you were yesterday. There may be many obstacles in your way, many difficulties, many trials that you have to face. But with God, all things are possible, and nothing is ever too difficult with Him. I challenge you to give Him an opportunity. Try Jesus. You understand me? Just try. There's nothing to lose if it doesn't work. But what if it's really true? What if He is the only way and you never found yourself on that way? I wonder what the ending of your life would be like. So I challenge you this morning to consider those things. I challenge you always and forever to be the best you can be. Don't be a cheap carbon copy of someone else. Be the best you can be. Be the best you. And when you leave this earth, make sure that you have maximized everything. You have fulfilled your potential. You have laid it all out. You have laid it all down, and you die empty. There's nothing left inside of you. Every great idea, every invention, every thought, every ounce of love is shared with humanity. In other words, endeavor to leave this earth and this place a better place than you found it. Add value to someone's life. And so I encourage you with that this morning. All right. Today, going to be a very interesting day because we have the privilege of having the president of the Jamaica Football Federation, Mr. Michael Ricketts, with us, and he's going to be on, and we're going to discuss, his vision, the pathway for the Jamaica Football Federation and Jamaica's football on the whole. Also, we're going to be discussing, Jamaica's role in reasserting the Caribbean in CONCACAF as a powerhouse again. There was a time when we were highly influential in CONCACAF, and that has kind of waned. It has really sort of been on the back burner in terms of Caribbean football, and we need to assert ourselves in a place of prominence so that the Caribbean can excel as a group, meaning every single territory in the Caribbean, not just Jamaica, but Trinidad and Barbados and Guyana and Grenada and St. Lucia and Montserrat, wherever they are, that everyone will grow in terms of their footballing acumens and become something worthwhile in the grand scape of football globally. We're going to engage him in those conversations. Of course, we want to also give him a time to just share his vision. And then after that, we will take some comments and some questions. We just ask you to do a couple of things before he comes on. One, take time now to share the video. If this is your first time on the platform, please just hit the subscribe button. We'd really, really love for you to do that. And like the video, right? Please just like the video. You know what? You can dislike the video. If you don't like it, dislike it. But if you really like the content, then like it. All right? It costs like little energy, and it's no money at all. And so I want us all this morning to welcome call him the returning president, right? Because he recently won an election in a time when I just understood that the president of Dominica Republic, the footballing president of Dominica Republic, who we believe Dominica is doing so well. They had their election recently, and he only got 3 votes out of the 50. And Michael Ricketts just won in Jamaica in what we call unanimous. Really, was a no contest in the end. So we're going to find out the election formula, just in case we decide that we will want to run for government. We can know how to win elections because he seems to have the strategy. All right. Mr. Ricketts.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning to you, sir. How you doing?
Well, I woke up this morning, so I have much to be thankful for.
Bless the Lord. I see you in office, man. So you're doing well.
Yeah, I'm actually in office.
Yeah, how's the family doing?
I try to be here on Tuesdays. Well, most Tuesdays. Yeah.
Okay. How is the family doing?
Well, so far I have much to be thankful for. I wouldn't complain. God has been good to me.
In good health?
I told my helper not so long ago that I used to go to primary school sometimes barefooted, and she never understood what I was saying. And then she said, "Okay, sir, let me count how many pairs of shoes you have now." And I said, well, that will probably quantify how blessed I am from 0 to whatever number you have now. So I'm good. I'm giving thanks.
Okay. I don't think that many people probably thought a man of your status probably went to prep school, but you said they went to primary school.
No, man, I went to Denby Primary. And from Denby Primary, I went to Glenmuir. So a few of us, maybe 6 or 7 of us, would have passed what was then the common entrance. So we were supremely proud. Our teachers were over the moon because you have 7 of your kids going to the prestigious Glenmuir High. So,
wonderful.
Like I've said, I struggled growing up. Like I said to someone the other day, I only knew how poor I was when I went to high school. I knew that I was poor when I went to high school. When you see parents dropping kids to school and they hug and kiss, and cars in a line to drop kids off when we had to walk all the way to school. I mean, we could
Whoa.
only have a Shirley biscuit while they were having cooked lunch. So then I realized, but I mean, something is not too balanced. But I have much to give thanks for. I have a lot. I have a lot.
Yes. Okay, so you played, did you play at football at Glenmuir?
You know, the year when I thought I would have kept goal, the competition was abandoned. But I actually played cricket. I played Headley Cup cricket for
Oh,
Glenmuir.
so you can't really play football, you're a cricketer.
Well, I'm a sports person.
you know, you know,
You
I
know,
realize
I
you're not the
went to the
first
Headley
person
Cup
I talked.
final
You're not the first person I've
matches.
spoken to at the JFF. When we tried to find out about their football documents, the beginning said whenever they were supposed to play, there was Hurricane Gilbert, there was something else, and all of them seemed to say that they were supposed to be the goalkeeper.
Yeah,
And then
yeah,
their segue into, oh, and we used to play cricket. So you were probably a cricketer trying to
yeah,
make
man.
a football team.
So
Okay. So, but how did you get involved in football then, seeing that you were, like I said, you were into
I tell
cricket?
you, as a little boy growing up, ordinary kid. I mean, you played every sport. So you would go fishing. I mean, you could shoot birds. I mean, you played football, you played cricket. So my community was um, loaded with gifted athletes. So after I left Glenmuir, former president of the JFF Boxing, and I actually grew up in the same community. But he went to Virtech, which was then a football powerhouse. So I would have seen the likes of Alan Cole and Bob Campbell and Harold Walker, Trini Douglas, Errol Barrett, Orville Edwards. I would have seen all of those in my first year at Glenmuir. So I developed the passion having seen these high quality players. And then we used to go to Veer matches later on when CC started a proper program. I mean, Clarendon would have dominated schoolboy football. So once you had an interest, then you were bound to get involved. So the likes of Garvey, Glenmuir afterwards um, fell in line, but it was Veer and Clarendon
And
College,
college,
Veer
yes.
University, that actually dominated those early days of schoolboy football. So I got attached because of my probably parish I was from. Then I was invited to serve on the Clarendon FA. That maybe would have been in the mid 80s. I, few months after, took over as president from Dr. Dawes, who by then had actually ascended to the position of JFF president. Then
Okay.
I took a turn, and then my friend Jimmy Chin and I formed a club called Galaxy. So
Okay.
I resigned from my position as president of the CFA and concentrated on growing Galaxy. So in those days, it was Galaxy and a team called
Hazard.
Avengers and Hazard were the dominant teams in the parish. And of course, later on, there was a team called Leeds from Veer. So all of these teams would have
I
played
thought Leeds
Premier
was
League.
from St. Elizabeth.
No, there was a Leeds in Clarendon as well
Okay. Whoa.
from Lionel Town. So there were those four teams actually played in the Premiership. At one time, it was Avengers, Hazard, and Galaxy. Three teams playing in the Premier League
From Clarendon.
from Clarendon. Then I went back into administration. Um, I was vice president to Box Hill. Then when he became JFF president, I took over as Clarendon president. Then, of course, I became chairman of the South Central Confederation. And I chaired some committees at the JFF. I chaired the club licensing. I chaired competitions. I chaired referees. And then I was recommended by Captain Boyle to the general membership, and I was voted in as a vice president. Afterwards, the rest is history. 2017 rather, when at the passing of Captain Boyle, Bruce Gaynor acted for president for a few months. Then the elections came up, and of course, I was challenged by a particular gentleman very late in the campaigning. Then I won that election. Then it was only 13 parishes that voted. I think it was 9-5. And then I actually served the last 2 years of Captain Burr's tenure. After that, in 2019, now I got my own mandate. Then again in 2023, it was supposed to have been. It eventually happened on March 17, 2024. So basically, that's my footballing journey.
Yeah. I have to ask you this though. What happened to Galaxy? Has it been dissolved? What happened to Woodside? Is there any development at Woodside? What's going on with Woodside? Woodside was such a beautiful field. I used to go Woodside with my father to watch Galaxy versus Reader. You know?
Yeah, man, with a natural terrain that you would be on the hillside, and
exactly
that was kind of a natural stand. Woodside is still there. What happened is that Jimmy Chin actually turned Galaxy over to the Murray brothers, which was later changed to Sporting Central. Right. So and then they, of course, would have made what really was a beautiful field. So they gave up Woodside, of course, and
you know, I didn't know that. So Sporting Central Academy actually like took over.
Is a derivative of
Galaxy.
Galaxy, yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Okay. But the field is a surface, because that looked like if Clarendon was going to do something that looks like a nice, I mean, based on what it was back in the days, things may have changed. Like a nice location, a nice place. I mean, maybe houses are built around it now, but back in the days, I think the train line was the only thing that was there.
Correct. You remember well, man. That's
when I was a kid, man, I used to love to go there, and I used to love to go to Brooks Park. I think when Mile Gully was in the league, because we used to stay on the hillside. And Jarrett Park also had that too, where you could, if you didn't get to go inside Jarrett Park, you could stay on the hillside and watch the game.
There were some epic battles with teams like Reno and Galaxy, Wadada. Those days, we really had some good quality football.
Okay. Somebody's asking about Hazard, but you weren't a part of Hazard, moving over to Portmore.
Hazard and Galaxy were great competitors. I tell you, there was some uniqueness about both teams. They were owned by two Chinese businessmen. Both of them had a supermarket next door each other. In Maitland. Yeah. So they were competitors.
I thought it was Horace Reed who owned Hazard. Like, you see all them things there is history, you know?
No, man. There's a guy named Herman Ming.
So it was Ming versus Chin?
Ming versus James Chin. So it's Herman Ming at Hazard and James Chin at Galaxy. And they had supermarkets exactly beside each other. So there were a group of us who were real friends, but the commitment and the loyalty was split down the middle. Because half of them would be for Galaxy and the other half would be for Hazard. So on a Saturday, everybody now became enemies until after game on Sunday. Sunday, afterwards, you're best friends. But Saturday, no, we don't speak to each other. Until
can you imagine what Woodside used to be when Albert, Ashley, and all of those, when Galaxy and Hazard meet in the Clarendon Derby, man?
Yeah, man. So it was afterwards that Hazard was removed and renamed Portmore United. So, but originally it was owned by by another friend of mine, Herman Ming.
Okay. Listen, do you see those days in the football coming back when you know it that when you go to the games, the local games, I mean, whether it is, I mean, last night was very tremendous to see the crowds at Sabina Park. I think they open up, even the other side. Good turn up. But this was not just for the playoffs or the semifinals. I mean,
Indeed.
any given Sunday, wherever the game is, you know, if it is the teams in Montego Bay, Westmoreland, same thing is if it is the teams in Kingston. Do you foresee, as a president of the football, we'll just segue into this, do you believe we can get back to that kind of community support behind the football to drive it in terms of financial revenues? And what would we need to do to really bring back that into the local football? Because those times, like, that was your Sunday. People used to travel with them rice and peas and chicken.
Yeah.
When them coming to Westmoreland to play arena, same thing with the Westmoreland people.
It was more than a football game. I mean, you were going to an event. So the entire family would go. And like you have said, so you prepare your meal and you drive out from early. And I remember I used to drive from Maypen to Frome to watch Reno. That's the kind
Yeah.
of love and passion and commitment to the sport. What happened last night, though, is a kind of a testimony that all is not lost. I think it was nicely organized. I reckon there could have been maybe 7,000 people there.
Yeah.
The buzz and the excitement, and this is just quarterfinals. So when you get into the semis, and I think next week going to be bigger
Yeah,
because
because both
all
games
square.
tried, I think the best
Yeah, it's
results
all
could have.
square. Everybody, yeah.
Yes.
So let's see what will happen next week, and then we go into the semis, and of course I think May 19th is the day set for the grand finale.
You know what though, maybe we need to look at the ownership of the clubs, you know, because I remember even Reno used to be run by Bim Williams, who was
Right.
Doris Williams is really, he's of Chinese descent as well.
Yeah. Yeah.
You understand me? So maybe that was why some of the resources were in the football, and I think
Correct.
somehow a lot of those persons, I don't think any of the clubs, no, I don't know, I could be wrong, except for Mount Pleasant is really owned by, operated by someone who is like not Jamaican, right? Right, because he's kind of European. Maybe we need to find ways of getting back some of the Chinese who used to run the
Yeah,
club
man, we
back
really
into
need
the football.
to still look at franchising, and I think Mount Pleasant is exactly what franchising is about.
Yeah.
But like I said, last night was interesting. It just shows that football is very much alive, and it really brought out the best in those who watched the game. It was,
Lots of excitement, man.
and
And I think, I mean,
good games, two good games.
two good games. I mean, I think the surface, because they recently played a cricket game on it. You know, but you can see that the players were avoiding playing the ball in that area
Right.
and on the pitch. But outside of that, I think by the time they get to the finals, which is going to be in the stadium, the quality should be a whole lot better. So that is something to,
I'm
yes,
sure. Yeah.
yeah.
But I enjoyed it thoroughly last night. I think two good games, lots of skill. I mean, good passing, move the ball around. I think it was a pretty decent game, but a number of chances were created. But probably with a little bit of luck, we could have seen a greater number of goals.
Yes. Yeah. Awesome. All right. So listen, let's bring it back to now. I mean, again, congratulations to you publicly and again, you know, leading Jamaica's football for the next 4 years. I think that is the cycle. You know, you have been given the mandate by the stakeholders to lead the football. How do you feel about that? How do you feel about being re-elected as the president of the Jamaica Football Federation?
Firstly, I really want to say thanks and express my regards to those persons who supported me, those who actually voted for me, and those who were behind the scenes giving me moral support I mean, that was very, very important and highly appreciated when you think of how uh, terrible the whole campaigning was. And I would have repeatedly asked for a clean, sober, civil campaign. It was far from what I would have hoped for. But I have survived with all the levels of disrespect and try to put me down and to hurt my integrity. I'm here, and I must again express my thanks to those persons who supported me. And our work, I mean, has been vindicated because we have done some work, to be honest. I was saying to my wife this morning that it's not Michael Ricketts, but it's the persons around me. And when I think of some of my loyalists, people who really love the sport of football and would give everything to grow the sport. I'm saying it again. I mean, this JFF has one single item on its agenda, and it's to grow football. So we have started our program on some real positive notes, and last night certainly would be one of those. And I'm really looking forward to uh, an absolutely great closing of this season because it's the first leg of the quarterfinals next week. What happened last night will be uh, done all over. Let's see what happens next week. But thank you very much, Mr. Stennett. Thanks to those who would have supported me. I mean, some persons have made some real unkind and uncomplimentary comments via media houses. But that's how life is. Uneasy is the head that wears the crown. So I'm strong. I believe in God Almighty. I pray to Him about everything I do. And I'm saying that if He would have made me into president, then He can't. I will not let me fail. And I think that this JFF has done exceedingly well.
All right. Well said. Again, congratulations. You recently celebrated your birthday. Here's someone telling you happy belated Earth Strong, You hearing us?
I lost you just then. No, hear me now.
No. Someone saying that happy belated birthday to you.
No, yes,
So
my
that's
birthday was last week, Sunday, April 14th.
yeah.
But I know me
What
there's some great people born in April, man. I didn't know
yeah.
until I start getting some congratulatory comments.
Uh,
My
hold
friend
on.
from Hanover, the mayor of Lucy, his was 2 days after. Lothan Cousins, Minister Grange, Honorable PJ Pattison. I mean, all of us were born in April.
Well, some people would say, you have some people, but April have a very significant day, the first, So careful about
Well, none of us
ascribing
were born
greatness.
on the first.
Careful of ascribing greatness to the month of April. But let me ask you, you said that a lot of good stuff. What are some of the things that you were doing um leading up to the election that you thought like these things are steps in the right direction, and there's going to be a continuation of some of these stuff, because you said that you have done a lot, and it's to develop the football and go in a particular direction. What are some of the things that you can highlight that we can say, okay, well, that is true, that is true? What are some of these things that you'd say, yes, we have?
Let us
Yeah.
look at our coaching education program. And that is something that we must give some priority. And we will be making announcements soon in that regard. But when you think that we have, I think, 29 B license coaches now, and there are 20 something waiting to be certified or actually in the process now of doing their B license. When you think of one person in the entire Caribbean who is a licensed coach. And I think there are 10 others who are in the process now of doing that particular course. What we want to ensure is that we get our primary school coaches certified. And like I said, we'll be making an announcement in this regard soon. We have about 500 of those that must be certified. We will be rolling out a program. We're going to do a 2-year program. One first year will be for D license, and then we follow that up with a C license course. This will be over 2 years. But we must highlight the work of some of our young coaches. When you think of speed, I don't know if you can categorize speed as young. But when you look at people like Peart and Moran Gordon and Gilbert and Vassell, this is a cohort of coaches that would lead the charge as it relates to an improved coaching education program. These are the coaches that will now teach the D&C license. They are now qualified to do so. I mean, up to some months ago, we had to get people from CONCACAF to do this. We have our own coaches now that will do these D&C license courses. When you look at our refereeing, first time in the history that would have had 20 referees and assistant referees on the FIFA list. 7 of those are of the fairer sex and 13 are men. When you look at the technical aspect of our program, I mean, we have done exceedingly well. I mean, to have gone to 2 World Cup, Women's World Cup tournament is no ordinary achievement. And we seem to take it lightly, but the world doesn't. When we go to, in fact, when we went to Australia for the Women's World Cup, I mean, there were so many glowing comments, so many congratulatory remarks coming from everybody around FIFA about Jamaica's qualification for a second consecutive global tournament. When you look at our senior men's team, I mean, we're 3rd in the Nations League, another historic achievement. The Copa America, we actually played and qualified for participation in Copa America. The other times we were an invited team. You look at our under 15 boys who did so very well. We were a whisker away from qualifying for the World Cup. We lost by the odd goal against Damrep, if not would have been in the under 20 World Cup that concluded some time ago. I think that we, from a governance standpoint, we have done very well. I mean, everything is on the up. We, up to as recent as a year ago, we never had a tax compliance certificate simply because we were indebted to government. We have paid up that. We are debt free as it relates to our tax, being tax compliant. We are very current now with our payments, so we do have our own tax compliant certificate. All these are positives. And when you look around the Caribbean, I just mentioned that um, some of our own Caribbean neighbors have some incumbent have lost. So we just need to ensure that we stay together as part of the Caribbean. The Caribbean really looks up to us for support and for guidance. I mean, Guyana's president has been returned, Barbados has been returned. Um, 2 would have lost, 2 incumbent would have lost. But we want to ensure that we stay strong as a unit. What we really need to do is to reform and to make the Caribbean the force that it ought to be. Because we do have numbers. And if we make certain demands, we want to be respectful in how we operate. But we have numbers and we can really make some demands. We want to roll out a grassroots program As it is now, Jamaica is one of 25 countries that FIFA would have selected to participate in this program, a talent development system, it is called. So there's a TDS coach here now, Stefan Avery. He is from Guadeloupe, but played his trade in France and also played in the MLS. He's now a coach with FIFA. He has been assigned responsibility here with us, and we just want to make sure. We just want to make sure that we get things right, and then we can of course roll out this massive grassroots program. Like I say, he's actually here. There were 3 or 4 persons from FIFA who came here 2 weeks ago. And of course, we would have laid the foundation. We will be starting a under 17 competition. I think the tentative start date is May 5. Once we get that rolling, then we're certainly going to influence our youth programs. FIFA would have announced that the under 17 World Cup will now be every year. So we want to be extremely current, and we want to have a program that would consistently provide us with talented under 17 players, so we can every year try to be part of this under 17 World Cup tournament.
All right, awesome. Well said. We have my co-host. He's from the diaspora. We try to keep it balanced. We always have one in Jamaica, one outside of Jamaica, so he can ask some questions that are, in the mind of those in the diaspora. But I have a couple of people from Clarendon, and you're a Clarendonian. So let me just get back to something local before we get back to national, per se, because he's saying that there is very limited activity in Clarendon in terms of the football, and there is a need for a John Green kind of a person back in Clarendon to get back some of those youth stuff going. And he mentioned like Tollgate in terms of the primary school football. He talks about I think Tollgate Primary. He listed out a few schools in Clarendon: Tollgate, Yorktown, Osborne, Store, 4 parts, and he says no competition. So just answer that for the people from Clarendon who are asking, seeing that you're a Clarendon.
That's not a question. That's not a question for me. I'm not the president for the Clarendon FA, but the Clarendon president ought to take these questions. But I really, really, really couldn't answer. I know for sure that there was a meeting 2 weeks ago.
Who's the president for Clarendon?
I am disappointed, with what is happening in Clarendon now. So there is an election coming up soon. The incumbent will not be seeking re-election. So it's kind of unfortunate, because we would have laid the foundation. The John Green and the Lloyd Plummer era certainly would have laid the foundation and generated that interest that still exists right now in schoolboy football. And it's not by chance that Clarendon is the parish that have won the DaCosta Cup more times than any other. Clarendon is the parish that would have provided more winning DaCosta Cup teams than any other. So it's, of course, very disappointing that it's not where it ought to be right now. But, I can only advise, I can only offer my help. I am not the president at Clarendon, not anymore. But the caller is indeed correct.
All right, great. All right. Cranky, I know you had a question, so I'm going to let you come on in now, and then we'll get back, like I said, to some matters of at the national level. Go ahead.
So Mr. President, I don't have a lot of questions. I have
you're very low, man. You move from earth to the heavens with the blue skies behind you, your white shirt like you're an angel, and your voice gone down, man. You don't have to whisper in heaven. You can shout loud in the presence of the Lord. You
can't hear me now?
Yeah, but a lot better.
Mr. President, how you doing? You need to drink more water before we start talking. If you drink more water, you don't drink enough. So, by the way, it was good meeting you out in Texas.
Yeah, man.
You look good and you look happy. So it's always good when you're winning out. You feel good. But a
Yeah,
lot of
man.
questions, to be serious, a lot of questions actually. And this not need to be one
You're
show.
breaking up.
I'm breaking up. You know, let me plug this in.
All right. So So Cranky sort out his audio. And okay. All right. You're back now. And people, we're gonna get to the questions, right? But we want to give him an opportunity to talk what is happening, and then we can ask the questions about like youth development, domestic league, strategic coaching, some of those things are mentioned. We're gonna ask those questions as well. All right, Cranky, go ahead.
So Mr. President, can you hear me now?
No, you gone down low. You see, they're saying that it is worse. Crank, they say you're gone down. Out with the new Cranky and go back to the old. I'm telling you. Old broom, clean sweep. That's how it go.
Yeah, man.
Right.
No, man. New broom sweep clean. Old broom know the corner.
Oh.
That should be better.
Young man, you don't know those things.
This should be better, right? This should be better.
I think they're saying you're still low,
Yeah.
you know, I don't know.
It's sounding too much in my ear, man. This is still
They're saying
low.
that you need to turn down your Bluetooth, turn off your Bluetooth or something like that function.
I just turned it off.
All
So
right.
is this any better?
Yes, better now.
So, Mr. President, before we go forward, we have to address some things in the past because the only way we're going to really get forward as we want to. So you have indicated or provided perspective on all the accolades and all the things that have gone well over the last number of years. And I think the JFF has to reap some of the benefits of that. But some people may say some of this is despite the JFF, not because of the JFF. So, for example, the situation with the women's team, as you mentioned, FIFA and FIFA's laudatory comments about Jamaica and all that. But we know we've had problems with the women's team. Not as much with the men's team of late, even though one situation has occurred, which is a challenge. How are we rectifying those situations to really move forward? Because you can't really move forward until those things are put to bed. So what are we doing to put those things to bed? Did you hear me?
Look like he's frozen on that side. See, there's stillness. All right, you heard that because you were frozen
Right,
a while ago.
you.
I didn't
hear at all.
All right, ask the question again, Cranky.
Can you hear me now, sir?
Yeah, I'm hearing you now.
So my question is this, and I'll summarize it better. We have had problems in the past with the women's team and the men's team, and there's still some outstanding issues in both of those programs. What are we doing to put those things to bed so we can truly move forward in a very well-situated way, in a way in which we all can be proud of the program because we're doing well, and we don't have this baggage lingering that's affecting how the program is perceived?
No, I'd like for you to be a lot more specific because I have no idea what you're talking
Okay, so the
about. If you're
women's
talking
program.
about the women's, if you're talking
Yes.
about the women's program,
Yes.
I can tell you without any fear of contradiction that we are now good. We're ready to go. We have a game coming up in Brazil. All the players have responded positively. Those who have not do have very valid reasons. So, as far as the women's program is concerned, I think everything is good now. I mean, we're just waiting, getting ready to roll. From the men's perspective, I think we have absolutely no issues at all. While we were in Texas, it was Dallas, it was, yeah. I'm going to, for want of a better word, I'm going to say we were summoned to a meeting by the players. And after the game, which was, I got back to the hotel maybe at 11, Damian Lowe, I asked him, can we meet now? And he said yes. So he said, Johnson, Blake and himself would meet with us. And I'm telling you, I got out of that meeting feeling refreshed, feeling that we are now a unit. We are back to being a family because the things that were discussed in that meeting, the things that were raised by these three players, were all things that will positively impact our football. And there was no quarrel, there were no issues about money. They just wanted us to work together. They told us that they were very happy with the progress that we would have made over the last months. And they now are prepared for us to go forward. We just had a discussion. And honestly, I felt like we have the full support of our senior men's program. So I think that we just need to continue on that trajectory, continue on that path, keep our players happy. I mean, respect our players, show them love, provide for them what they need as long as we can do so. And then we're going to get the best out of them on the field of play. So as
But
it is now, both our senior program on either side of the agenda, I think we're good.
so not to inundate the program with negativity, but you had a recent situation, one of your main players on the team. Is that being addressed? I know you came out and made some statement. Will that be also be rectified and put to bed?
Well, hopefully. But the coach, we give him the latitude to deal with that. The JFF would love to play its part in trying to have this matter amicably settled. But I mean, we want our best players, and we don't want to get into a fight with players. So sometimes we even have to compromise our own position to ensure that there is harmony amongst your players and your technical staff, and of course the country. Like I said, we don't want to get into a fight. So we hopefully will have that settled very soon.
So you're saying going forward, all the matters brought up by the women's team and the men's team are now behind us, and going forward, we should be a better place.
We should be. We should be. We should
Okay.
be.
Okay. Mannings, go ahead. I have much more questions, Mannings. Go ahead.
All right. So good. All right. So on the same note, right? Recently I think Mr. Chung, the comments were attributed to him that the team, the Reggae Boys would need like 500 million. I'm suspecting that is Jamaican, which is a $500 million for the campaign. What are some of your thoughts in terms of this kind of money, the engagement of the stakeholders or the sponsors or the donors? How are we going to do this? Because that's a mammoth task. $500 million in an environment like this is very difficult. So how are we? What are some of the things you have in mind in terms of ensuring that, what I say, money make the what? The mirror. Yeah, right. So how are we going to ensure that the team is galloping into the 2026 World Cup?
This is where Cranky going to have to give me a check every month with lots of zeros behind it. So
if he gives you a check every month, it will be all the zeros on it.
All right. Yeah. In fact, it is huge, massive. And we want to be creative, so we engage, a marketing company to help us to market this football product. We are hopeful, and what we saw last night was kind of encouraging, that people still have the vibe and the energy to come and watch local football. We want to go back to the days where you can fill up the national stadium. So we will depend on 876, which is a marketing company that we would have engaged. We did make a formal announcement last week in this regard. So they will have to help us to sell the brand. We want to encourage corporate Jamaica to come on board. We have an announcement next month as it relates to a prominent corporate company that will be joining ranks to give us some support. And we are hopeful that we'll have a number of other corporate entities coming on board. Without that, our program will not work. And we'll probably have to shelve some of our programs. Right now, we have a under 18 team in a tournament in Turkey, which we thought was very, very important for the development of football. Where they lost 1-2 last night, missed a penalty in the very last minute of the game. But so far, I understand that things are doing well. They have two more games. These are the kind of programs, the type of competition that certainly will augur well for the development of our local football. Government, I mean, we are looking to government to help us. And I keep saying this, that corporate era and Jamaica really need to come on board if we're going to impact the social well-being of the boys and girls in our country. So we just want to be very strong. We want to be forthright. We want to be respectful, but we must do some work in this regard. And corporate Jamaica government or parent organization, the JFF, must come together to ensure that we make these programs work.
So, Mr.
Right.
President, Mr. President, I think the
Yes.
marketing has to be a little more creative and a little bit more deductive to achieve its objective. For
Yeah.
example, you mentioned corporate Jamaica, but I think there's more money outside of Jamaica than in Jamaica that would go towards football, at least from a fan standpoint,
Right.
right? The question: how do you reach people in diaspora who may have no tangentially think about football? It's not part of their domain, and make it part of their domain, make it part of being a patriot,
Hold on a
and then
second.
allow them to spend the money that you need, right, on the sport, attend games, support games, watch games, to help you generate the resources you're talking about.
Well, I mean, interestingly, Cranky, just yesterday we engaged a international marketing company because I mean, when a Jamaican entity gives you $20 million, it's a lot of money. But when you get $1 million from a company overseas, it's $150 million.
It's real
So
money.
we were always of the view that we need to to make the football industry more attractive to the global market. And like I said, just yesterday we had discussions. We will meet again on Thursday with an overseas based marketing company that will try to help us to market the product overseas. And Cranky, what you said is profound because I suppose there are millions of Jamaicans overseas who would want to give $10. Say if we have 1 million people that will give us $10, let's calculate 10 million times 150. Problems will be over. But we really need to market the product. And we will have a meeting on Thursday. We would have the chairman of our marketing committee and his deputy as part of that meeting on Thursday as we try to promote and market the football product.
So,
All
as
right.
interested parties, one last thing, management. How does one get insight into the marketing strategy being employed by the company to generate this buzz and to generate this interest to allow it to be materialized into something tangible?
Well, we will be having meetings constantly and consistently as we craft a way forward. I mean, like I said, we have engaged a local marketing company, and we're looking forward now to engage an overseas company. So we would in some case, replicate what would have happened in 1997, mark you, that's decades ago. So some of these things might not even be relevant now. But we want to generate that kind of a vibe, that kind of an energy, that kind of an interest, so that we can get people both locally and overseas to wanting to be a part of the program. So, it's going to be a huge task, but we are bracing ourselves, and we have some persons on board, some very astute football and business minds, and we are hopeful and very optimistic that we're gonna do well.
All right. We have a caller. We have a caller online. He's one of the supporters of the team. Travels everywhere in the diaspora to watch the game. So, caller, let's just have him on. Welcome to the show. Good after morning. It is, I know it's afternoon where you are, but good morning.
Yeah, morning.
Yeah, but you're live on here.
Good morning.
Yeah, good morning.
All right. It's Ricketts.
Yes, sir.
Good, Mr. Ricketts.
Yes, sir. It's a minute to midday. So good morning.
To 12, yeah. Yeah, big full disclaimer. I'm a supporter of the team, as management says.
Thank you.
I travel, I spend a lot of time.
So I could probably know you then.
I'm one of those fans. I'm one of those fans who don't necessarily talk to administration.
Okay.
And I'm also somebody who's very frank. I generally ask the questions I want, and in full disclaimer, your opponent for the election had a podcast such as this. He was on one, and I was on there, and I'm from St. Mary, he's from St. Mary, and I gave him pointed questions as well. So I am fair and balanced. So I have a couple. I can piggyback on the last marketing question by saying this, Mr. Ricketts. You guys are missing, in my opinion, a huge swath of money from the diaspora, from people like me. And I say this because I don't get the... well, it's a double-edged sword, Mr. Ricketts, because people like myself who are in the diaspora, who either own businesses, run businesses, or are otherwise au fait with how things happen in the first world, we will not necessarily hand over our monies without there being the type of transparency that generally happens in situations like this. So let me give you an example. The U.S. Soccer Federation is a 501c, which means it gets public monies from the U.S. It gets public monies in the form of tax breaks from the federal government, right? Yeah. In return for that, what we get in America is we get fully audited financials posted online every year. We know where every dollar of the U.S. Soccer Federation's monies go, and we feel more confident handing over our monies to them. Now, in Jamaica, you guys, last year it was reported by Minister Grange in the whole debacle with the girls that you guys get public money from however you want to fashion it, is from like the gambling people or Sports Development Foundation or something. Is that correct?
This is nothing new. This has been happening from the days of my family.
So
hold on. So we get a monthly subvention from SDF. And this has been happening for decades. At the end of each month, and that helps us to pay our salary. It used to be 5 million.
Yes.
It is down recently to 1.5 million per month. So that is
1.5 million US or Jamaican?
We spend Jamaican money here, sir. So it's 1.5 million per month.
Jamaican, okay.
Yeah, man.
Okay. So Mr. Ricketts, I guess I need to just wrap this up in a question.
Yeah,
how do you get to a position where the average man like myself feel confident enough to part with our monies because we love Jamaica football so much and we want to see the product get better on the field. You have a major deficit in public confidence, which is, in my opinion, is evidenced by the lack of sponsorship.
We make public or audit reports. It's no secret. I mean, the GenSec is here. He could confirm or deny that. But we make our audit public. So there's no question. And there's nothing for us to hide. We are being audited by CONCACAF. We've been audited by FIFA. And we have our own local audit. So at least 3 times per year, we're audited by different
Mr. Ricketts, can I chime in for a second, caller? Can I chime in for a second? Those financial statements are dated. And I had this discussion with Dennis before. He mentioned an AGM you have takes a year after those financial statements have been audited, a year plus for them to be published. That information is dated and is not very useful to anybody who wants to see that information. Let's be frank.
No, but it can't be made public until it goes to your general membership, and that is once per year.
Right, I know, but I'm saying it's dated information. It's useless when you get it. When you get it, you're a year ahead. You're a year behind.
To say it's useless because it might be late, but it is the fact of what your audit reports.
Cranky, I want you to pick up on this because I want the caller, because I don't want him to be online and feel like
understand.
All right, go ahead. So finish it. Go ahead.
I can ask. So, Mr. Ricketts, since you're saying we're transparent, right? We're transparent. There's nothing to hide. The details of this Adidas contract. Is it monies? Is it gears, or is it a combination of both? And if it's royalties, so if I go on Adidas site right now and I buy a Reggae Boys jersey, how much of that money goes to the JFF?
20%.
20%.
Yes.
So 20% of Jamaica of Reggae Boys gear that Adidas sells goes directly to the federation.
Yes, that's part of the contract.
And we get uniforms for for the men and the women, all age groups, right?
All age groups. But
no, also
we have
let him finish.
10 teams.
Yeah.
5 on either side of the gender. So it's a lot of
so 20% royalties. Was there an upfront fee as well, like a fixed? Do they have a fixed payment per year?
Yeah, man.
In addition to the royalty.
Yeah.
And how much is that?
No, I can't.
And how much is that in US dollars? That's the limit of the transparency. So far under this Adidas deal, how much has the JFF reaped?
In terms of cash or in terms of kind?
In terms of cash.
No,
cash.
I can't. No, there's a confidentiality clause in the contract. I mean, these I can't make public, but what I can say to you is that so far the relationship with Adidas is good. I mean,
so your financial statements would not tell us how much money we got from Adidas, right? These publicly transparent financial statements, it wouldn't tell us how much we got from Adidas or how much we are getting.
It probably would be broken down and be part of. But to say explicitly that this is from Adidas.
Yeah, but all right.
No.
I will just chime in on this though. The details of the Nike deal with US soccer. You know that there is something on the US Soccer Association or Federation that tells you how much they get separate in terms of cash every month.
The details of the U.S. Soccer Federation's Nike contract is a public document.
No, it is not.
Peruse and get all this information.
It's not on it. I can guarantee that they don't tell you how much they get from Nike upfront cash. I can tell you that for sure.
So you're telling me, Mannings, man, that the Nike deal that the U.S. Soccer Federation does not have a does not have a dollar figure associated with it per year.
Let me tell you what I am telling you. The question that you ask is if the Jamaica Football Federation gets right, upfront amount outside of the 20% for each jersey sale and the kit that they get. Outside of that, if there's an upfront amount, the answer was yes. Then you ask, how much is the amount? And then I think the president said there's a confidentiality clause. I am saying to you, I have gone through the document for US, for Canada, and for England. There is nothing on it that tells you what is the upfront amount that they were given. None at all.
So in summary, Manningsman, you are saying that the way we are operating in Jamaica as far as transparency is concerned at the JFF level is akin to what affairs in Canada, the US, in the Canada, US, and Britain as it relates to the contracts with the federation, with their kit sponsor.
What I can say to you, and I'm going to say what I am saying, and then you can draw a conclusion from what I am saying. What I am saying is when
I heard what you said. But
that's what I am saying. You can draw the conclusion, but that's what I am saying. I am not saying what you are saying. I am saying what I am saying, but you are drawing a conclusion from what I'm saying.
Would you disagree with my conclusion?
It is so difficult to compare a first world country with a struggling third world country. For example, I understand that the youth academies in America, and I understand there could be hundreds, thousands of them, that they have to pay funds to the US Soccer Federation. In Jamaica, it is the other way around. The JFF has to fund most of these. So when millions
repeat that? What do you mean? What do you mean the youth academies have to pay funds to the US Soccer Federation? And then in Jamaica, you pay funds to Phoenix Academy?
I am saying that.
Does the JFF pay funds to Phoenix Academy?
Not to Phoenix.
To what youth academies?
Those academies that are connected to the parishes. We have to help them.
For example, which one? Give me one. So St. Mary's Central Football Academy gets a subvention from the JFF?
All right.
Parishes.
That is news to me.
Parishes.
All right.
Clarendon's youth program has to get support from the JFF. Portland's
okay, all right. I can get off on this.
No man, so
US Soccer Federation.
So let me say, so US Soccer Federation has a 8-year, $120 million deal. In that, there's no specific amount as to how much they get upfront, outside of.
Okay.
So if you can find that on it, I'd love to see.
I agree. I agree.
Paula, why does that matter? At least we got a number.
That's what I'm saying.
We don't get any. Mr. Ricketts is saying, look, guys, this is confidential. That cannot be the case. Almost every major contract that's issued individually, if Kyrie Irving a contract, LeBron James, you hear a number and length. So how are we saying we can't?
We don't have the number for the Jamaican Adidas contract. We don't have a number. Do we have a number, Mr. President?
No, but why I am saying that there's a confidentiality clause.
No. Cronky just said, and Manningsman just said there's a $120 million contract. That's the value of the contract. What's the value of the JFFs with Adidas? And we can answer that and just move on.
Say that again.
What is the value of the Adidas JFF contract?
In its totality?
Yeah, I think that say it's a 4-year contract say it's over, just like USA says, the 8-year contract, 120 million. Is there a suspect? What he's asking now is that different from before? Is what is the total number for the contract over the period of time?
You see, the truth is, I'm not even sure what's the relevance of that, to be honest. And I don't feel that I'm being disrespectful.
Well, if there's a confidentiality thing, we don't want to. I mean, so let's. All right, let's move on. Let's move on. Let's move on from that.
Let me just say this before you move on, Manningsman. This is part of the problem.
All right, but we're gonna move on from that. We're gonna come back to that because all right, Maxwell, go ahead. You said that.
Okay, and like Cranky said, that just speaks to the transparency issue that most people have with the JFF. That is an example of it. Two, let's move on. I have one last question, and it's based on something that the president spoke about earlier about we now have an under 17 league that's supposed to start in May, on May 5th, which is roughly about, give or take, 2 weeks from today, correct? No.
Yeah.
Mr. President, we saw the rollout of the women's championship recently, and that debacle. What steps have been put in place for this under 17 competition to not meet that same fate?
That's the under 17 male competition we're talking about?
Yes.
I'm losing.
Go ahead, go ask about the question again.
Mr. Ricketts, can you hear me now?
I'm hearing you now, yes.
Let me just say this. The under 17 competition has been moved to next year. I think the FIFA is moving it to 2025. If it is the same one we're talking about, that should have been in August of this year. So just for clarity.
No, that's not what I'm talking about.
The
local under 17.
Let me ask my question,
okay, go ahead. Okay, I wasn't here.
Let me ask the question. Mr. Ricketts.
Yes, sir.
There's been an under 17 competition announced that's going to be quote unquote ran by the JFF that should start in May. Yeah. We just saw the rollout of a women's Premier League in a month or two ago, and we saw how much of a debacle that was. My question is, what steps have been put in place to ensure that this under 17 competition, which in my view is kind of coming up pretty shortly, don't suffer the same fate?
Okay.
The competitions department of the JFF will oversee the running of the under 17 competition. We had issues, and it's totally different. Totally different. The men's version is totally different from the women's. And we had these issues because one basic fundamental problem was that a number of these teams are essentially made up of schoolgirl players. And in the middle of our competition, ISA started to play games on Saturday. So that is the fundamental issue that we would have had with that particular tournament. So the corrective measures will be put in place. The women's version of schoolboy football will end. In fact, it ended yesterday. The finals were played yesterday. So it will be a lot more manageable now when the girls will be able to play on Saturdays. That's the only problem that we would have had.
All right, Boxwood.
Okay.
Yeah, man. All right. Thanks for calling as usual. Continue supporting the football.
All right, bless
you.
Man,
bless you.
Thanks, boss. Thanks a lot.
Yeah, man. All right. So before we move on, let me say this, people, right? So, as you know, I have some contacts in England, all right? And they're saying that the English FA never gave details of their contracts. And what you see publicly is never, and the person is saying this, and this is someone who has worked in the English FA. Now, when LeBron James, because Cranky, I know you were using the example of like LeBron James and Kyrie Irving and those players, and but do you know the deal that the Dallas Cowboys have with AT&T?
No, I haven't looked at that management. I know Arsenal have contracts with Adidas. I know Arsenal. No, but management, we're using the football here.
No, but no, I'm just asking that because you're asking. No, the only reason why I use
Mannings. Let me just say this, guys. This is very important. Your reputational risk is a key asset for any quasi-public organization. Your reputational risk is almost like money, right?
Yeah, but you have to hear what I'm saying. I'm just using what you were saying because you are using individual athletes. You are using LeBron James and you use like Kyrie Irving. Right. I am saying that while those things may be made public, right? Here's what happened. We don't know what is the full sum of AT&T deals with Dallas, because no, that's a team and not an individual, and that's more like with national football. What we have, like I said, I have this from England, is that the details of it. So I think what normally happens is that the Adidas and the Nike normally comes out and say that. Somebody saying that the person is wrong. This is someone who works in the FA though. But I'm telling you that while I understand the need for transparency, right?
There's difference between details of the contract, the specifics to the contract, each line item, and the overall holistic perspective on the contract, which is a summary. I have a 10-year contract with Nike for $100 million. We don't know how that's broken down.
Okay.
If Mr. Ricketts had said this, which is, look, the contract with Adidas is a little bit different. We get paid based on sales of merchandise, so we don't have a total value for the contract. But because they don't have that history of us like they do for the US to see how much they can sell, so we get 20% of every sale. That's a different discussion than what the contract is at all.
That's what I'm saying. So that is it. You understand me? And I like the perspective, which is, listen, Jamaica is not the US. So we can say, listen, we know that we're going to sell X amount of merchandise, so we can do this. With Jamaica, you're not of that status. So you get 20% of all jersey sale. We don't know what that amount is going to be, because if this goes into the billions, you could get way more. All right. So I think that's listen, really, I'm going to take a next call, but I really want to get the president, because we don't normally we normally don't, and I don't want him to feel like we're being hostile to him, because I want to make sure that he comes up, because
Mr. Ricketts have the demeanor to deal with hostility. There's a difference. I've said this before numerous times.
I didn't hear that.
I say you have the composure and the demeanor to deal with what may deem to be hostile. It's not hostile, He's looking for transparency.
Yeah, right.
All right. So I saw a couple of things. One of the things, Mr. Ricketts, and I think this was asked earlier, right, is we see a lot of Mr. Chung, especially in last year, and a lot of Mr. Speed. A lot of people believe that there should be a lot of you because of your demeanor. In this new tenure that you have, will you be more accessible to the people, because they want to know that they're hearing from yes, it's good to hear from Speed. Yes, it's good to hear from Mr. Chung, who are, they have become less accessible. They have become less accessible now, still, Mr. Chung no come on the program again, him get promoted. From you promote Mr. Chung, him no come back on the program, and you promote Mr. Speed, him stop come on the program. But you
Manning's man. We don't need to come back again.
What are them is actually there at the background all along, cranky.
I know he's there. He's giving instructions. He's saying, don't tell him the deal. Don't tell him the deal. Go ahead, Mr. President.
All right, gentlemen.
But
I will be around a lot more, and it has started right now. I mean, this is probably the second or third time that I'm on your program, but for sure, and if that's what you want, and if that's what the public wants, then certainly.
So, Mr. President, I can get an exclusive interview with you?
Of course. Why
from
not?
a diaspora perspective.
Yes.
Yeah, man. Sure.
I do. Look, it's not all negative, right? Here's the thing that people can understand. We love the football, right? It cost me $2G plus to go Dallas to watch a game. It's much more expensive here than in Jamaica to go watch football. People don't seem to realize that.
Yeah.
I live in New York. I don't live in Texas, right? So we love the football. I want the football to do well. But at the same time, we want a totality perspective, at least personally, in terms of how things are working and what we can do to help the football be better and help the country's football to move forward. So when people say we're being negative, no, we're just asking questions and queries that we have that we want to get answers to. We're not trying to be negative. That's not what the purpose is.
No, I have no problem with that.
Okay.
Yeah. All right. We have a caller. Welcome to the show. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, man.
Good afternoon. This is Gunners boss.
Gunners.
Yes.
Yes. Pick up yourself, Mr. Military Cranky.
Bless up, Gunners.
Thank you for your service to the world, sir. Mr. Ricketts.
Yes, boss.
Honorable.
Respect,
Honorable
sir.
respect to you, sir. You
Yes,
have been
boss.
doing a
Thank you.
great job so far where the federation is concerned. And I don't want you to sit here and let desperate people drag you and talking about dishonesty and all those things because I don't see none of that anywhere. I want to ask you to continue doing what you're doing and especially pay a lot of attention to the local football so we can also mix the team with some of our local talent. They are there. I don't know
It
if
is
they are not
refreshing.
scouted.
It is refreshing to
I
hear this
don't
kind of
know if,
comment, boss.
yeah, I don't know if these talents are being scouted properly, but I believe we can find talent enough. I am not saying we should not have talent from the diaspora and
Right.
wherever, but we need to
And
have
I
a
tell you, caller, we have a program that was launched last week where FIFA sent us a coach that will work with our youth program. And this is what this program is about, to get young talents from all over. And he is a talent development coach with FIFA. And he'll be working very closely with us all across Jamaica. He has been contracted to be with us for 2 years. And we're going to unearth some talents and grow them into our senior men's program. So thank you so much for that comment. I'd say it's refreshing that somebody appreciates what the JFF is doing.
Of course, I appreciate it. I see the people around it. A lot of people talking about transparency. I tell you what, the Jamaica Football Federation is the most transparent federation. I have seen you, I have seen Mr. Speed, I have seen Chung and all these other people about out and about on these platforms and other more bigger platforms talking about the sport.
We like I say, Carla, we are here to develop.
I want you to come out.
I really appreciate
They want you to come and they want to talk. They want you to ask you what you eat, what you drink, and who pay for it and all those things. It is irrelevant. What we need to do is talk about the development of football in Jamaica and where we are going.
Yeah, man, look at the game. You were at the game. You were at the game last night. Where you live overseas? But you must have seen what happened last night in the quarterfinals.
He didn't watch it, man.
He did.
No.
I was watching basketball. I didn't know there was a game.
But two excellent games.
I am not.
You know which TV support. You know which TV support. Arnett Gardens was played.
Okay. And it looked good. The games were good games. The teams looked good and competitive. And it's all squares back to the second leg. So it's starting afresh next Monday.
Go ahead, Gunners boss, and then we have
I would like to see more of the past footballers, especially those from the '98 World Cup and stuff like that campaign, involved in the football more. Can you do anything to get more of these people involved? People like Wiley,
right now,
Bibi Gardner.
Right now, as it is, we have a discussion and arrangement with the coach. Right now, Bibi Gardner and Freddie Butler are very close to the team. And this is a program that we'd want to continue, that we have some of these national players as part of the setup. I mean, Cranky can tell you that both Bibi and Freddie Butler were part of the contingent that were in Texas some weeks ago. So yeah, man, it's definitely something that we've
and Lenny Hyde is a former player as a coach. Rudolph Austin is an assistant coach. Exactly. Freddie Butler is at the under 17. So there are former players.
Yeah, man. Austin and Lenny Hyde are with the team in Turkey right now.
Yes.
I said more up.
More, yeah. So that's what I'm saying. That it is a start, Gunners boss. We just agreeing with you that it is.
Man. It's a start.
All right then.
Yeah, man.
Thank you so much, Gunners boss.
moving right along. Me not done yet, Mr. Ricketts. Me just
Okay, all right, no problem.
No, Gunners boss, you don't have much time.
Last
You don't
question.
have much time.
I am here to worship at the JFF altar. I have no problem with you right now. But one thing I would like to see. This thing, Mr. Ricketts, about the curfew. I believe
About
professional
what?
athletes-
About what?
the curfew thing. I
Curfew?
believe professional athletes. Yeah, man, curfew. CURFU. I believe in curfew for professional athletes leaving their job, coming to represent the country as patriots, 70% and 25% paid. I believe there is a better way to do this more than said. A player, especially after a game, if that was reported was true, he has to go back to the hotel.
It's not as
over. I
stringent.
don't think so because okay,
It is not as stringent as it sounds.
it's not
Because
as stringent.
we allow players, we give them some leverage, but certainly when you have a game like the day before, you don't expect players to be on the road the night before. But
Yeah.
it's not as firm and stringent as it
And
sounds.
yeah, and I think a lot of that is like when it comes down to teams, I think it is more what a coach decides more so than what the president or the gen sec or
Right.
I think that those
Right.
are kind of more coaches' decision, in my opinion. Still,
Technical decisions, yes.
yeah. All right, Gunners boss.
Yeah, man.
Thank you very much, sir.
The caller who called earlier. The caller who
No,
called
no,
earlier.
no, but go.
No, man, if you support the team, let me tell you what man. If you support the team, and you spend $1 million, Frankie live in New York, Frankie they are Texas, in they are Florida, and they're all over the place. You know, hear him come here and cry how much money he spend anymore.
Yeah, Cranky just said that. Cranky just said that. Cranky just said it cost him $2,000 to go to game in. So Cranky did say that.
No, I wasn't crying. I wasn't crying. I was making a point that it's
But the caller wasn't crying.
Spend your money.
All right, go
Spend your money. Spend your money and I don't mention it. And
All
as
right.
we said that, man, Mr. Ricketts, one more thing.
Yes.
Management come on the program. It's been very successful. I want you to give management a position where he is and keep him there. Let him do it. If he even frame up here, it's a work. So I want to keep management on the program.
All right, caller, we're not conflict of interest here now.
You hear that, boss? You see, no? Yes.
No, man, I love it for the good people. Frankie is a great ambassador also for the Reggae Boys program. He's not looking at job, but keep him close because he always have some good advice, even though he's very critical and the
really appreciate
All
it.
right, Gunners boss.
With all that said,
Really
I am
appreciate it.
out. Finish worshiping for the altar. Keep up the good work, Mr. Ricketts.
Thank you very
and
much.
don't bring
Really.
nobody else who is gonna come and run. One more thing, don't bring nobody who is gonna come and run against you in 4 years and say the organization is corrupt. Those people, love the people them right. When you are don't bring in some people. And look for Mr. Karam Purser down at Forest to run the Manchester Night Football League. Mr. Ricketts, a good man that. Karam Purser down at Forest to run the Night Football League. Mr. Baxter.
Doing very
Look
well.
on them Monday.
All right, Gunners boss. All right.
Thanks a lot.
Back to regular programming. Mr. People, just hold on. Let me just get.
Mr. Ricketts, I have something to take up with Mr. Ricketts' seat. Or you welcome that caller and his questions. But you don't welcome my question. We don't understand, Mr. Ricketts. We don't understand.
No, man. The man speaking my language, man. Someone have to embrace it.
Just give us, Mr. President. You know, one of the things I want to ask, because I know you said that everything with the girls and there's a game coming up, but I know that one of the things that was said is that there was a need for an apology for the whole step to move forward. So what we can walk away from today is that all of that has been done privately and we are just moving forward. Because I know at some point, I believe it was a GenSec would have been quoted as saying that there would need to be an apology for the step to kind of go forward. But you have kind of declared that.
We have had some kind of a compromise, and I think we are in good stead.
Okay.
And we're ready to move on.
Yeah.
So, Mr. Ricketts, all the girls now, including Bunny Shaw, are available for the national team?
Nothing burping.
You frozen? Hello?
Yeah.
I said
didn't hear
all the female players, including Bunny Shaw, Spencer, are available for national team for selection going forward.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, we have
So the coach will, in fact, the coach has reached out to these players, and most have responded in the affirmative. Those that have not have given good reasons. So we are of the view that all those who have responded are ready to play and are in fact available.
All right, and you know, I hope you guys have reached out to Bonisha because she suffered an injury that could have probably ruled her out for the rest of the
Yes,
season.
she has. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I've reached out to her. All right, it good. Seems like I can go to card. No, the under 17, because Mr. Wellington raised some concerns about this under 17 competition. So is it mandatory for the Premier League teams to be in this under 17 competition? So they will be at least
not this initial year, the first year. No. There are some teething issues, so we'll have to bypass some of the teams. But certainly down the road, and we're looking to widen the numbers, increase the numbers. As it is now, the maximum number of teams will be 14, which will be all the teams that participate in the Premiership.
all right.
But
If a Premier League team, sorry to cut you, but if a Premier League team decide that we can't participate, there will be no sanction. Could a next team, like in tier 2,
there will be no sanction. There will be no sanction.
Okay, but a tier 2 would you, just to keep the 14, would a tier 2 team come into that position, or it's just the Premier League team?
Not now. I mean, we will try to improve both the quality and the numbers as time goes by. So we will definitely be looking at that option to ensure that we get as many teams as is possible, because it's part of a development program. And later on, we could very well include the parishes. So these are some of the options, and like I've said, we want to, as best as possible, to provide an opportunity for as many of the under 17s as is possible. We must be reminded that World Cup under 17 will be every year. So we must have this ongoing under 17 program to keep these youngsters in tune and ready to participate in these qualifications.
All right. We have a caller online. He's from the diaspora. Dwight, welcome to the show. Listen, we have to cut down the time because the president busy, you know. So.
Yeah, and I have another meeting. So
yeah. So go ahead, Dwight, and then I'll go ahead.
No problem. I wrote down the 2 topics. I'll go straight to the point. So number 1 is, can we have maybe the JFF work with the fans to coordinate a designated fan section in the stadium that the JFF prefers fans to purchase their tickets? That is because usually when we're at the Gold Cup on these competitions, the Jamaican fans are usually spread out, and it doesn't look succinct and together on TV. So that's just a question whether the JFF could assist in coordinating a fan section to do that.
In fact, I'll jot that down right now to discuss with our marketing people. But that's an initiative that I think would positively impact the program.
All right.
And probably impact the results.
Yeah. When we see the
but definitely sounds good, and we'll discuss that with our.
All right, Dwight. So let's just touch and go. Cranky.
No, I think he said 2 questions, right? He had another question.
Oh, he did? I cut off the call.
Yeah,
I think I cut. Dwight, did you have a next question? I'm very sorry. All right, I think he's calling.
No, I have another question.
Oh, he's back. Dwight, you had a second question. Go ahead.
Yes, no problem. The second question, excuse me. Instead of some people are appealing for the U17 league to be extended outside the Premier League, a possible solution is having periodic cup competitions, invitational competitions at certain points during that U17 league to include all-star teams from other parishes that are not there. For example, after week 5 of the tournament. There is a 6-team cup competition on a Saturday where they run smaller side games to include teams or players from other parishes. So they're not playing in the running league, but there will be periodic cup competition to include players from other parishes.
I think
exposure and opportunity.
I think we lost the president. I think he dropped off. But when he comes back, if he returns, I'll ask the question. You see, this is the thing, people. Sometimes we don't get to, because we don't even get on the CONCACAF issues yet with Marlon Glean and all of that, because there are so many things to cover in such a short.
It has to break up into segments, right? You may have a 4-part series. And you have topics for each of the areas you want to cover it, because there's a lot of people with a lot of questions about a lot of different things.
Yeah, so many questions. And I know some of you feel like your question is being ignored, but because it is so much. But I think we have lost the president. We got some stuff. One, that everything has been resolved in terms of the girls. The talk was that there has been some compromise, is the word. Is it compromise? Which is good to know that is resolved. There is a game coming up in Brazil, so that is good to hear that there is that really. We're gonna have to get some more information on this in terms of just the Caribbean, with the changes happening in the Caribbean, where just Jamaica stand. We would have heard about the amount that is gotten from the Adidas per sale of shirt. What I think would be good is if we could get the Adidas representative, who is an attorney who probably can better speak to some of these matters where that is concerned. I don't know, and the truth is, yeah, I don't know, Cranky. I know you didn't even get in. I know you got in some of your questions. I know we're talking about the main thing was just the level of transparency. I like how you phrased the answer, that the response should have been, listen, here is what we can disclose where this is concerned, 20%. And it is probably that is Adidas. You and I don't know, but maybe what Adidas is saying is that, listen, I think we have about the president. Let's see if we can. Mr. President, we want to just
man is man. The president say he must pay an internet bill.
No, Mr. Trump, careful now, because we're on and you're off, So careful now what you're saying.
The contract not kicking yet.
Yeah, man is your internet over there, Mr. Trump.
No, I wasn't working fine.
All right, but let me ask this question. Let me just get this in quickly. The relationship, Mr. President, with you, and I know Mr. Speed said that there was an MOU between Jamaica and Trinidad. We have had the Grenadian president who is gung-ho about working with other people in the Caribbean to reinstate Caribbean leadership in CONCACAF. What role do you play in that, and what is the relationship like with you and like a Marlon Glean and Edwards of Trinidad and Atiba Harris down there in St. Kitts?
No, man, we have and they look up to us. So we have a proper relationship with probably most of the countries in the Caribbean. Like you said, Marlon is a relatively new president coming from being an employee with FIFA. He comes with a wealth of knowledge, and he is a kind of a very strident individual. But we have an excellent relationship. All we want to do is to ensure that the CFU operates as a unit. So we must form an alliance with all the other Caribbean members, because we have numbers. So we just need to speak with one voice. We're not going to be disrespectful. We're not going to rock the boat. We want the best for our Caribbean countries. We have a new president in Trinidad. I mean, I sent a congratulatory comment to him. I mean, of course, he has responded positively. So we just need to engage these people and to ensure that we have a proper relationship and we operate as a group, and then we will be very successful. But the Caribbean really looks up to us as leaders, and we must embrace these young presidents, and we must work together in the interest of growing the football around the region. There are 31 countries that make up the CFU, and I think 10 that makes up um, 10 others that would make up CONCACAF. So we are strong in numbers.
So do you really believe, though? Is it realistic? Like, we can get back to the place that we were in CONCACAF, with the leadership of CONCACAF now predominantly based with the North Americans. Can the Caribbean again be at the top of the table, without unsettling the USA and the Mexicos and the Canada? Is that a possibility?
Like I've said, I mean, we don't want to do anything that's destructive. What we want to do is to do things that will make us more productive and will grow the sport of football. So whether it's all of North America or all of the Caribbean, we want the best for the region. And we're going to be very strident, and we want to ensure that the end product is growth for CFU.
Mr. President, not to belabor the point, but the perspective from afar is that the three major countries in CONCACAF dominates, and we are beholden to whatever they want to do. And from where I sit, it seems like you have to rock the boat to get the changes to enable the Caribbean, the CFU, to be much more influential, especially since you have the numbers and the votes to do so. What's your perspective on that?
You know, I still want to reiterate that our concept here at the JFF is that we are not keen on who leads CONCACAF. What we are keen on is good results, the growth of football, and the well-being of football in our Caribbean countries. So we want opportunities, we want infrastructure, we want financial support, we want programs that will help the football. And if we are strident enough and strong enough, we have the numbers to make the changes. But we have to also ensure that the decisions we take are right and correct and will provide a platform for the growth of football in Caribbean territories.
Mr. President, can you have a lot of information, and I always say this, I like your demeanor. But going forward, because I know you have to run, can we get something like a bi-monthly or a quarterly update from you as to how the program is progressing? You can figure out what template you want to use to do this. It could be the manifesto.
I mean, the GenSec is sitting here. I mean, this is something that I'm absolutely sure would help us as a federation, and it probably would improve our image and make things a lot more transparent. I mean, we don't have nothing at all to hide, absolutely nothing. So it is an idea, and we're going to try as best as possible to make it happen.
Okay.
And then my question is, listen, the 2026, many people say if Jamaica don't make this World Cup, Jamaica not going back to the World Cup ever again. Like, this is it, right? What are some of the lessons you learned? Because there has been a failed male World Cup 2022. What are some of the lessons you learned from the failures in that campaign that will not be repeated? And give us some of the things that will be implemented to give, because nothing is written in stone, but what are some of the things that are being implemented for this campaign that the people can look at and see that there's a concerted effort being made by the Jamaica Football Federation to give the senior men's national team?
Probably the most important thing has already been done. We have gotten a coach that can manage the players, and that in itself will bring on the field success. There are a number of other things, funding and financing the program. Of course, going to be of some concern, but we are intent on making it work. So we have, and in fact, in after being here for a year, I mean, we have seen growth in our play. We want to ensure that as best as possible, a number of young players are incorporated in this team to form that kind of a blend with the older players as they make their transition out of the sport. So we want to always have some youthful exuberance mixed with some experience. We want to ensure that we get things right. And marketing and competitions and technical development must play a part in ensuring that we do our best to be in Mexico, US, and Canada in 2026.
How is the recruiting going for more players?
Of course, I mean, we allow the technical people to lead that process, and so far, I know that they are courting some good young talent, and this I am sure will bring out the best in some of these youngsters because they want to compete. They will get some competition from the number of young players that are being being brought into the program. So we're expecting that we're going to get the best out of our players on the field of play.
What's your biggest concern going into 2026?
Funding, of course. Yeah, man, funding without question. I mean, beyond the shadow of a doubt, it's going to be challenging to find the money. But we cannot shortchange Jamaica. We cannot shortchange the football program because every single Jamaican is looking forward to us qualifying in 2026. And I tell you, if we can market the product, then we will be able to find the resources that will take us to the World Cup.
How is the support from the government as you move forward with this?
I have to be careful how I say this. Minister Grange and I.
So don't say it then, don't say that.
Minister Grange and I have an excellent relationship. Can always take up a phone and call her. But I can say this publicly that we're going to need a lot more support from private sector and government. And what both entities must understand is that when we get to the World Cup, this is going to have a major social impact on the country.
Yeah, just on that because how are we planning? Because oftentimes you will hear on these platforms that this player, the process of them moving from national becoming Jamaican citizen, getting the passport and all that, it takes years. Is there a way that the Jamaica Football Federation can engage, say, the government, so that they can create like processes to expedite these things for the players that are being
saying
recruited?
years might be exaggerated to emphasize, but we do that all the while. But
Okay.
we have three persons in government: Kamina Johnson Smith, Minister Kamina Johnson Smith, Minister Grange, and Permanent Secretary Thorpe. These are people, and of course Pika. We have a relationship with Pika, but we always try our best to engage these persons. I mean, if we get real desperate, then we call on the ministers. But if not, we work closely with Pika, and we've established a pretty decent relationship with Pika.
Yeah. All right, let me ask this one because a lot of people in during the campaign, I know that the other side was mentioned in building mini stadiums and setting up stuff. Now, while that may be a very difficult and it may have looked like an impossible thing to accomplish, but it in reality, as good as the Captain Horace Burrell Center has been, it is limited in terms of touching the other parishes in Jamaica. What are the plans what is in the pipeline in terms of, there is the Trelawny multi-purpose stadium, there is the Goodyear. Yes.
This is very, very, very important from a growth and development standpoint. And I mean, when people become political with serious business, I mean, it says a lot. I mean, they said that they are three. And you know what was very significant? I mean, so many persons mentioned it to me last night. None of those persons were at the game. But I'm not saying they weren't there. But they were not at the places that they were during campaigning. And it just goes back to show that you have no interest in football. I mean, it's a game as important as this. And none of you were at, I'm not saying they weren't there, but they were never there where they were the last time. And when you make pronouncements of how many hundreds of millions of dollars you have, develop the program. Don't be political. Invest it in some stadia. Since you have 250 million, spend it. Don't be political with your hypocrisy. Come and spend the money and build the
But
nation.
maybe you should engage them, though, Mr. Ricketts, to say, listen, we heard that you had 350 million. Let us work together and build our next Captain Horace Burrell Center.
I hope you're listening and decide to come and give us some financial support because we
So
need it.
you're not planning on extending what they call the olive branch to say for the purpose of the 350 because infrastructure development is critical. Shouldn't there be an extension of the olive branch to say, listen?
Critical. You know, I said not so long ago that these persons have themselves gone into oblivion because of what they have done to themselves. I mean, we have not pushed them aside. I mean, they have put themselves into oblivion. So, I mean, we have not publicly said that we don't want to see them or we don't want to hear nothing from them, but we have not heard or seen them. But we want the support, and it's not just about football. We want to ensure that we impact the nation.
Okay.
Gone are the days when people just play football for fun. Football is massive business now. I mean, first time parents used to tell their children that don't play football, don't play sport. But now parents are encouraging kids to balance your time, play football, and do your work. You're bound to get a scholarship. You're bound to get a contract. So we just have to be very understanding as it relates to roles and functions of each of us as administrators and how we influence these young boys and girls.
Okay. I hear that. So, but is there any plans though, just outside of them, but is there any plan to, because the Captain Horace Burrell Center, spoken of by other people in the Caribbean, by the players, and many people talk about how good it is in terms of helping with all the programs, but it also very limited because there are times when you have multiple youth teams in preparation, right? So, is there funding? Is there a way that we're seeking to access funds from FIFA to probably partner with a Mount Pleasant or partner with the government for the Trillon, the multi-purpose student, go over into Clarendon?
Last week we had a meeting with Mount Pleasant, and this was very topical amongst the things we discussed. And they have bought into the idea and have agreed that they will make their facilities available if and when we may need a second venue that can house these young players and provide the other amenities. So, yeah, we will continue to talk to Mount Pleasant, but we have looked at the possibilities, and in principle, they have agreed.
Okay. I also noticed that yesterday, leading up to the game, I saw billboards on almost every light post. I had to go through like St. Mary. I saw them in Trelawney. They were in St. Anne. All kind of things. Billboards with players, JPL playoff, all of those things. No, Jamaica have a game on the 6th of June, which is less than 50 days away. When does the promotion start? What about those people who want to fly in? Is there special packages being arranged for those who are flying in from New York and from Florida to come and watch the game? Because this is the first World Cup qualifying game in a World Cup that many people believe that This is it for Jamaica. What is
Okay.
what is happening in terms of the promotion? How is that going and stuff, or what will be done? Like I said, differently.
Well,
Pack the stadium and get the
what,
artists
what,
in there, and not Jerry D, but someone like Jerry D at halftime, like in 1998, and all of those people giving out, the biscuit company throwing out biscuits, and the phone companies giving away phones, and what is happening on that front?
well, what's common amongst what you have just said is that it's the same marketing company. And then these kind of initiatives, we expect that they will bring on stream. So, yeah, we have a meeting on Thursday and Friday rather. And these are some of the things that we will discuss for sure. But yeah, I saw some of those billboards myself. And I thought it was something that was, I mean, workable. So let's look at the other initiatives that SM6 Stream will bring on board. And certainly we will get an idea when we meet on Friday.
Mr. Ricketts, what are we doing about the product on the field, the playing service? Because players complain about the playing
Well,
service.
I tell you, that's a sore point. And honestly, we I don't know. We will be having a meeting with a particular municipality because what we really would want to do is uh, ask some of these mayors to replicate what has happened in St. James, because I was pleasantly surprised when I went to Catherine Hall some weeks ago. I mean, the surface looked in excellent condition. I mean, the structures were repainted and looked good. So if we could get the municipality in each of the 13 parishes to take on a venue of its own and help to maintain it and to work with the JFF, then this is an initiative that could work. But the JFF really doesn't have the resources to invest in structures, playing pitches and stands and stuff like those. So we will depend on government to help us in this regard. But that's something that's believe me, high on our agenda. We must improve our playing surfaces if we're going to produce good young players.
So how is our relationship with our stakeholders? Because what you're saying is that you need stakeholders to help you achieve your objective. What are we doing from a personnel standpoint, from a networking standpoint, from an engagement standpoint, to make sure we have the right relationships to effect these changes that you're indicating?
Well, I think a lot of people now would have settled down after the elections, and we now want to, in fact, we think that it's opportune time now to reach out to ministers of government and to mayors of respective township and to do some proposals so that they can look at them and hopefully accept what would have presented and help us, because I don't think it's too much of a ask to say to a mayor, take on a ground in your town or your parish, and as part of your helping us to have quality fields, just maintain a field. And I don't think it's too much, but just maintain a field and put up some stands and help us to have facilities that could make good young players.
What incentive is there for those mayors and those municipalities to do this, Mr. President? Why should they
Social
do
well-being, the social well-being of boys and girls in your township and in your parish as a political representative and as part of building the nation of ours. And you're going to win the election again and again and again. I'll tell you, look at the members of parliament that own premiership teams. They don't lose elections. Look at Mr. Siaga, owns Tivoli Gardens. He has never lost an election. Mike Henry owns Humberland. He has never lost an election.
You say all you have to do to win is just win a football team, Mr. President.
Of course, and treat people good. Treat people good.
But me
Get
own a
involved in
football
your
team, I never win an
involved in
election yet. I'm
the
not
youth
sure about
program.
that.
If you have a football team, people can't say them don't see you, because
I
you're going to
win
win
a
every
football
match
team
that
and I
you
never
come
win an election yet.
You don't run
But-
one, so you're going to win one. But you have an audience at church that serves you well. Cousins own a team in Thailand, and Cousins has been a successful politician because he moves around with his club. The young people gravitate to him, and they give him support because of his connection to
Kyle
sports.
Wallace says what he wants to remind you that Mr. Siaga actually lost to Michael Manley, and Michael Manley never won a team. But
Siaga, you mean general election?
Yes,
General election. That's different.
Yeah.
But at the constituency level, where the numbers are few, you're not going to lose.
we have
The
a
facts are
Canadian.
there. The
We have a
facts are
Canadian
there.
here. So let's just take this one because the president has to go. So Carla, go quickly.
Yes,
this
this
is
is the
Mr.
last
Devon
one,
Porter.
because
The last
somebody
one,
is
and then we
waiting
wrap
for
up. Go ahead quickly.
Thanks, management. I just want to probably chime in with something here that Mr. President maybe can do some action on. Regarding to the Caribbean Cup, remember we used to have the Caribbean Cup. They replaced it with the Nation League.
Nations League.
Now,
right.
what I want to ask Mr. President, if there's any way when it gets to the Caribbean meeting, the CFU meeting, since our under 23s has been inactive, if they can make a suggestion to reinstate the Caribbean Cup as an under 23,
Yeah.
yes, under 23 tournament for the region.
Right. Right.
Because that would be very good. At least we'll be active.
Right. Because remember, we used to have a under 23 program. Yeah, man. That makes sense. And I certainly raise that.
Because Central America has an under 19. Central America has an under 19 and an under 23 tournament yearly.
Right. I'll definitely raise that for sure.
All right.
Okay, Mr.
All right.
Thank you very much, gentlemen.
All right, Mr. Porter. Okay. All right, Mr. President, we're gonna release it to go, but I want to give you time to say thank you, and we want you to So I know Cranky had a very good idea about, just doing like some updates and
Yes. Yeah, man. We made note of that.
A State of the Union address to your constituent periodically.
Okay. So we're in April, so probably in June,
man,
a Tuesday morning like this, you can come on again and give us an update on some of the manifesto items, where they are, and the engagement. But I also believe that one of the big things that needs to happen is that between you and the GenSec of the Jamaica Football Federation, there has to be a meeting of the diaspora groups. I think there should be of those people in the tri-state, that there's a committee that would probably work with the GenSec
Well,
in terms of.
Sure, Cranky could help us in this regard. I don't know if we're asking too much of him to just try and coordinate these groups. And what you said is fundamental to having a relationship with the diaspora.
And Cranky's retired now, so he has a lot of time on his hands.
Yeah, man. More than county retirement money.
It's Jamaican dollars. It's Jamaican dollars.
And appear on I Am Sure Sports.
All right, gentlemen. Thanks a lot both to the hosts and of course to the listeners. I hope you would have left with far more educated number of things that would be happening at the JFF now. I'm saying to Manningsman, feel free to engage us as often as you want, and give us a chance to speak with your listeners, with your audience. That would improve the relationship with the wider cross-section of both the diaspora and the local people, and would probably make them far more with the truth so that they can sometimes defend the JFF when the naysayers speak. So thanks again for having us. And again, I'm saying, have a great day. Continue doing your good work, doing the good work, gentlemen. And thanks again for those who would have called. And we do look forward to having further discussions. Thanks a lot. And
Thank you, Mr. Ricketts.
Thanks.
Yeah. All right, and for the man in the background, the Holy Spirit talking to you around there. Big up.
Yeah, man. Remember, Manning's man must give the tithings to the Holy Spirit, yeah? 10% of your earnings, yeah?
10%. Oh,
10%.
all right. Don't worry, I'll ask the man in the heavens. See my money, you don't see me in front of you in a white shirt in the heavens, a headphone.
Yeah, man. I will take 10% from him too.
You'll be sending it. All right, thank you, Mr. Ricketts, Mr. Chuck. Blessings every time. Yeah, man. All right, so there you go, people. Again, we're going to try to.
I believe it's soon enough. I jump on another stream for watch the Arsenal game. I got to go on Apollo stream, so.
Yeah, definitely. I need to go over there now. You need to send me the link when they start, so I can.
I'll send you the link.
I can watch it. All right. But listen, people, thank you so much. What Formula says, good show, good updates. One of Ricketts' best and informative interview despite the coaching from Mr. Chuck.
He didn't need the coaching, He didn't need the coaching at all. He didn't need the coaching. He does a good job, actually. He doesn't need the coaching.
Yeah, Cranky, the people are all asking you to send the link for Apollo, so I don't know how they're going to do that.
No. I can't send the link for I can send the link for Apollo, but the link I have is a panelist link. So I have to send the link. I'll drop the information. You know what
I will do is that after the game, me people, I cannot do a watch along when Arsenal are Jamaica is playing. It's very difficult for me. I normally do it because if I'm doing the watch along and Arsenal losing, that is going to be the end of the watch along. So I do the post game show.
No, it's Arsenal 101. If they go on YouTube, it's Arsenal 101. So
yeah. So the YouTube link, Arsenal 101, you can check us out over there. But after the game, after Chelsea loses, then we will be here. But so we can do that, Cranky. I don't know when you're starting, but that's one way you could do something to engage the diaspora through that interview, and we can have the updates, and so that there can be interaction with the fans. And what I'll say, people, is that what we will do is kind of find a way of saying, here are the topics we're going to if it's going to be a consistent thing, then we can then select, right, Cranky? Yeah. We can select like specific topics to discuss. So we kind of focus, knowing that the next one we can discuss other things instead of like spreading. You go wide but not deep.
We can work out with Ricketts. We can work out with the president. He has a manifesto, which I'm sure is going to be his guide about the things he's going to be doing for the program. Other things he's doing, you can work out sequentially where his priorities are, what he's doing, and then that will be the topic for given shows, right? So you'll have substance to talk about versus we have some aspirational goal which he hasn't even started addressing yet. So yeah, we can work something out.
Yeah, because I feel like sometimes we spread ourselves wide, but we don't get deep into a specific issue. And I think it's better that we can, instead of trying to go wide and touch every single thing, we just zoom in, zero in, and player relations, for example. And that covers issues and finances and all of that, and then we do it that way. So we're going to try to arrange it. But thanks to everyone again. So Arsenal 101 is the stream too. Cranky, the people still asking when every time they don't see you, they say what? Cranky start his.
People, I'm trying to enjoy the first part of my retirement without focusing on anything management. So I've been spending. I'm working on my physical dimensions. That means I'm in the gym on a daily basis. I go to the gym from 9 to 12 in the mornings. I come home, I try to recover. Then it's nighttime. That's how quickly time flies. So I'll start the channel next month, but it's not my primary focus now, I would admit, because I have to get my body right. So Eventually,
and
I'm gonna do it next month. I'm doing it.
One thing you have to do, you see, like sometimes when you have to use your lighting has to be better because that is why sometimes.
I know. I just bought my light. It's supposed to be delivered today. I'm telling you, there's stuff.
Yeah. So that
I'm
is
gonna
why.
start right, man. I'm gonna start right.
Yeah.
I
But
check out these things,
I like the background. You look like you're in the city. Huh?
No, my background will be different for my channel though. It's gonna be different.
Yeah.
It's to come, people. Yeah.
Yeah. 101 and Arsenal.
Arsenal 101 is the name of the channel. You know,
yeah, Arsenal 101. Somebody's saying 101 on Arsenal. Is Arsenal 101?
Let me just check to make sure because I thought it was 1 second.
Cranky, the head of the head of the HDG. You hear that, Cranky?
Oh, which is what? So like something sick.
The head of the diaspora growth. That's Andre.
Yeah, it's Arsenal 101. If you go on YouTube and type it in, it says 101 on Arsenal, but if you type in Arsenal 101, it also pops up.
Yeah. All right then. So listen, blessing people. 101 on Arsenal, brain drain.
3 p.m. New York time, 2 p.m. Jamaica time.
Yeah. So we're gonna watch the game. 50 minutes to go before Chelsea loses to Arsenal.
I'm not saying anything. Last time we played Chelsea, we got lucky. We got lucky. So Rice scored that goal with a keeper made a mistake. When I say we're gonna win, we're gonna give them a good game. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, man. And for anyone who you maybe had a question, we're gonna have about the president again. So again, not that I didn't want to, but there's so much to cover. We're gonna try our best next time around to kind of focus it in a particular area, give you those topics from before, so that you can kind of come prepared and be able to, do it in two parts where we can engage and manage the phone calls to 5 minutes and stuff. I know, Peter, you were trying to call in, but I'll make sure the next time you're the first person to get on. So thank you so much.
Before you go, man, just one thing on the whole financial thing. I do think the JFF can do a better job. We're not asking for every single detail of every single contract for every situation.
Yeah.
The general information you can give out to make people feel some kind of view as to, you know what? We're generating resources. There's also strategically, marketing-wise, the marketing for diaspora has to be different than your normal marketing way of doing it. Trust me. Yeah. It probably needs to be a little more grassroots in how you do this. A friend of mine, I'm giving you an example. A friend of mine called me yesterday, and he's like, "You're going to Vegas," and I'm like, "I don't like to fly." He's like, "I don't like to fly either." And he's like, "You know what? I just talked to 6 people who are saying, if I'm going, they're going." Right? That's what I'm saying. You may have to use a combination of ways to source people to support the team.
You know what I find
Vegas from Florida is not cheap for them people.
You know what is funny? Jamaica has a deal with Puma. Like, I think it's a Jamaican culture. Like, we don't even put up publicly the salaries of our politicians. You can tell every money that the senators get in the states.
Of course.
And the president. I think it's something that I think, like I said, that level of transparency is something just generally, and I think the football needs to lead that. Like I said, if there's like what Boxwood was saying when he called in, like if there's over the next 10 years, we will look to be earning an estimated $100 million. I think people would still have questions, but that kind of help people to say, okay, it's this amount of money per year, so we should be able to. Like, I think those things are important. I think when you win a competition, like if you get prize money, like you come out and say, well, we earn this from participation in this. I think those things in general terms are very helpful. And that's probably how we need to engage the federation to say.
Here's my last point on this, which is this. People don't seem to understand. When people are spending their money, you want to make sure the money goes to where it's earmarked to do, right? And if I have some doubt, I'm not questioning the JFF's integrity, so let's people not say Cranky's here saying the integrity, the JFF XYZ. What I'm saying, they want to feel comfortable about the organization they're spending their money with, or they're earmarking their money to. If you can appease them and give them some information to allow them to have that comfort, you do a better job of sourcing their funding. That's all I'll say.
Yep, absolutely. So again, thanks to everyone. Again, T-Got. All right, T-Got, I missed you I didn't see this until late. Let me apologize to you because you wanted to. Come on, whenever I'm going to do it again, T-Got, the moment I send you the thing, just let me know. So my apologies to you, and I always like having you on, because you bring a different perspective. You ask some things that I may not want to ask, or I may not think about asking, just like Cranky. So I want to have the balance. Like somebody said, Cranky is the sharpshooter. You understand me? I don't know. I'm like the sniper, you know?
I never like the gun analogy thing. You know what's funny, Mannings, man? I see when Foden scores, he gives a gun salute thing. I hear nobody in England criticize this. When Raheem had this thing on his leg to support for his father, he got beaten. And I'm always telling people, we can't take hypocrisy in the Mannings, man. Can't take hypocrisy.
Oh,
I just throw that in there to say people need to be.
But Brain Drain is saying that you support Arsenal. And the symbol for Arsenal.
Only Brain Drain, man. Only Brain Drain, man. Only Brain Drain. Only Brain Drain. Only Brain Drain. Oh, the name Arsenal does have to be a negative in terms of arms. Either.
Oh, Danny Dread is saying that we know the PM and the MP salaries and the permanent secretary. All right. Respect, Danny Dread. All right, people, blessings. Have a good day. Arsenal versus Chelsea. So we'll be there. DW, Danny Dread, Brain Drain, Drew.
Yeah, man. Join Arsenal 101 people. Join Arsenal 101.
Yeah.
Our 101 Arsenal on Arsenal. Join us for the watch along. All right. We'll have perspective.
All right then. Blessings. Have a great day, everyone. Thanks for being a part of the show today. As usual, we say we are over and we are OUT out of here.
Yo, watch about dog. SK New heard this. The body out there. Sniper King I represent for I Am Sure Sports. You get to me, I say, when you want the latest news and sports and updates and all of that, check out I Am Sure Sports. You know the thing goes in. Remember, cover the whole island. Remember Kingston, Westmoreland, Galchester, Ocherase, Galtigo Bay. Everywhere. I Am Sure Sports. Check it out for the latest news and latest updates. Sniper King I represent. Where them feel like? Ha. Yeah, someone on for the food from young, from where they knee height. I Am Sure Sports. Yeah, dog.